Welcome back to a new episode of Raptor Chain Reaction. My name is Paul Mills from Raptorium Core, and here is Hunter Schultz, who is the head of production for Raptorium. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And today's episode, we're talking about family offices.
Thanks, Paul. This show was sparked by the California DMV episode we did not that long ago. And in that show, we talked about how the California DMV is going to be putting 42 million car titles on the blockchain, and it's the AVAX blockchain. What could possibly go wrong? Well, we explain that in no uncertain terms, I think. So part of that show was family offices are looking at investing in blockchain. Not all, but many of them are. And they're wondering about the space. They're wondering about how can we take advantage? What can we do with it? And it occurred to me that a buyer's guide, an investment guide, a reference guide of some kind would be valuable to them in evaluating what this animal is. And the California DMV is a news story of a good business use case. In this case, it was registering car titles. That is a good use case. There's nothing wrong with that idea. The problem is they use the wrong blockchain. And understandable, Raptorium, doesn't have assets ready, et cetera. It's underway. So
10 days.
10 days. We're psyched about that. We're psyched. We're ready. And you're going to Singapore.
So don't give anyone that down in the dumps speech when it's only 10 days.
It's only 10 days. Well, it's not down in the dumps, but at the time they made this decision, that was a while ago. And Deloitte was the one that had them do that. So I understand that. However, there's a new sheriff in town and it's called Raptorium. And so it occurred to me that why not educate family offices about blockchain. And this is the show that we're going to do it in. And we're only going to we have a list of top 10 things to look at when evaluating a blockchain. And rather than have a 4-hour-long episode, which even I'll fall asleep on, we'll do the top 3. Okay. And then we've got a top 10 list that we will send to family offices. We'll put an email address up on the screen. We're not going to put it in the description because of spam, but we'll put it up on the screen and you can write in. We'll send you not only the top 10 list of what to pay attention to when evaluating a blockchain, but we're going to send you our super secret family office AI program or portal, which enables you to go in and use AI to ask questions about anything blockchain related, anything about Raptorium, anything about Bitcoin, you name it. You can compare things. And what's really cool about it is you can have it answer, assuming you're a 5th grader. It'll be dead simple, which is great. It can simplify things and make it easy to understand. And that is invaluable when looking at all the things that are going on in our space. So, Paul, I'll start us off. Number 1, security, which makes sense because that's what a family office is going to be most concerned about is security. But what is security, and what are we talking about here?
I think before all of that, I think the viewers should know what a family office actually is. And
for those playing the home game, yes.
Family offices are actually specialized firms that manage the wealth of ultra high net worth individuals. They handle everything from investment management to estate planning and tax services and things like that. So yeah, that's basically what a family office is and does. They've been growing over the last 5 years. Me and Hunter were looking at the stats a couple of weeks back. So they've more than doubled in amount across the world, and the amount of money that they are managing has increased substantially as well. And for the most part, these days, family offices have more investment tools and more advanced strategies than a lot of the today's most popular trading platforms. So this is why it matters, and this is why we're doing a show on it.
Good summary.
So
Number one on Hit Parade, security.
security, yeah. So what's the question? What's the question?
How how blockchains use the blockchain itself for things like assets, which are coming out on Raptorium. Raptorium is different. And it's probably a good idea to compare and contrast how Raptorium is doing it versus how the California DMV system is going to work it. Just a thought.
Okay. So in terms of security, so traditionally on blockchain, in regards to assets, the assets would be created based on a smart contract. Now these smart contracts are coded by developers. Each smart contract could be a copy of another one, or it could be rewritten totally by like a random developer around the world. Now because of this, this means that there are possible holes or exploits in these contracts, especially if these developers have just cloned it and they don't understand the code and they just literally clone it to get the job done. This is where issues happen. And also on these sorts of chains, they are basically running on Solidity, which is a beta language. It's not fully developed as it is, and is constantly getting new patches, which again is of the detriment to the security of the assets that were created before the patches were made. So these patches basically cover up exploits that have been discovered since assets were made on the chain. So this opens up old assets to exploits and things like that. And where Raptorium does it, during asset creation, there is no contracts involved that involves a third party or just some random developer around the world. It's actually all on chain, so the asset is as secure as the blockchain itself. And another name for that is it's all on the protocol layer, and this is important for security, because the blockchain's encryption is far more secure than some of these asset creation languages such as Solidity.
I'm trying to think if there are any other blockchains that have similar levels of security that Raptorium has. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but then I'm not necessarily the expert. Is there anyone else out there? I mean, I know Bitcoin is very secure, but Bitcoin has its own issues.
Bitcoin's very secure. I mean, when we initially created Raptorium, we wanted to solve some of the issues that we had seen on Ravencoin. A couple of our core team were actually quite involved on the Ravencoin side of things, and they saw issues and also many exploits in their code, and this is why they went away and discussed amongst themselves and decided, yes, we can do a better job. And the original the original plan was to just simply fork Ravencoin and then go from there and fix all the issues. But when Ravencoin was forked and the code was torn apart by our developers, we saw issues and we did notify Ravencoin, and we are credited for finding these exploits on the chain. Even though those exploits were patched, we didn't really feel that comfortable with continuing with the Ravencoin model. So we knew that Dash had solved the vast decentralized distribution of nodes, and that was very secure because they were using something called chain locks, which verifies every single block to be correct across the whole of the node distribution system. So we knew that was a very secure way of going, and if we could take what they did well and then mix in assets in with that, we knew that we had a direction where it would be exceptionally secure, one of the most secure asset chains in the world it would be. And then mix that with a bit of Apache Spark, with it, which is the distributed open source umbrella of many languages. Then we've got something that can be game changing across the world. So that's what we did. So in terms of similarities, I would say that the Ravencoin assets are similar, but in the way that we have coded them on the chain, and the way that we are scaling, and the way that we are having them with sub assets and other qualities, we have far surpassed the technology that Ravencoin offers its users, and we are now setting an example for people to see how things should be done. I might be tapping on Runes and Ordinals heads as well at the same time while I'm saying this.
The point number 2 that I think is important to bring up for anyone in the family office realm, they all work in terms of compliance.
Yep.
There's SEC rules, regulations, there are a lot of things they have to deal with. So regulatory compliance, I know Raptorium has met certain regulatory standards.
I think if you wish to be compliant from a governmental side of things, they don't like privacy coins, and so you wouldn't be trading or involved with things like Monero. I'm not saying Monero is a bad coin. I do actually like Monero, but if you want to be compliant and not get your funds stopped at your family office or anything like that, then you don't deal with privacy coins. Raptorium's not a privacy coin. Everything is open on chain, just like all the other chains out there, which are accepted by governmental bodies and things like that, such as Ethereum, such as BSC, such as AVAX or whatever. We also have we actually secured this quite early on, actually. We have a US legal opinion as a non-security with the SEC through a US lawyer. So this is important to have as well. So if we do have any hiccups along the way, then we do have that in place that we can waive up. It was very expensive actually back in the day when we got that sorted, but I think it's worth its weight in gold, and there's not a lot of projects out there that do have that sort of green tick on their
What is the name of it?
It's something called the Howey test, and a lawyer goes through the project and makes sure that it fits the Howey test as a non-security, and if it does, then the lawyer puts his name behind it. So if anything was to come up in the future in regards to that, then we are covered in a legal manner.
The last big thing of the 3, and this is in order, by the way. Okay. So security, compliance, and the last one, big one, the top 3, scalability. And in fact, that was one of the things that I was looking for when I first looked at Raptorium and some other projects. And that was, if you're building this and it's successful, success can also kill you.
That's right, yeah.
You get too big and you can't grow, you're in a lot of trouble. And that's happened with plenty of technology companies over the years. And I'm sure there's a number of family offices that have experience in just that. Oops. Not often, but every investor does. And it's just a fact of life. So what are some of the things in terms of scalability that you want to see in a blockchain?
Okay, so what I'll start off with is what you don't want to see in a blockchain, because then that helps answer what's good. If you know anything about blockchain, or if you don't, well, I'll explain. Some of the blockchains that have assets underneath them, they've experienced exceptional gas fees. Now, when I talk about gas fees, this is literally the fee that it costs to either mint an asset or send an asset to somebody else, or just anything to do with interacting with the network to make things happen. Even just sending the main chain coin. Now, when a network such as that gets exceptionally busy, or not even exceptionally busy, just to a point that it of equilibrium where it struggles to handle anything further, what you'll get is many users competing to fit their transaction into the block. And when many users are competing to get that transaction processed, and when I talk about users, I'm not just talking about single people, I'm talking about exchanges, I'm talking about companies who are utilizing blockchain. When they're all competing for the block, people who are richer than other people will not mind raising the fee in order for the block to snatch that transaction more quickly. Now, this is a problem, because then the everyday man who wants to just, send one asset to somebody else might get to a stage where to actually send it at that point in time, it will cost more than the asset's worth. I mean, like, for example, a few years ago now, I remember sending a token on Ethereum. The token was worth like 9 cents, but Ethereum was suggesting through MetaMask, because it just utilizes the Ethereum network, but it was suggested that the transaction was going to cost $3.80 just to send the asset that was worth less than 10 cents. So that's completely ridiculous and unfeasible, and that's an example of how scalability fails. And the reason this fails is because the way that some of these networks are built is they can only fit so many transactions within a block for their assets or whatever else is going on the chain. And so there's huge competition for blocks. Now, the way that we have built Raptorium is, and the way that it's we are soon to be releasing code for, is we are issuing something called transaction decoupling. That's where transactions can be put onto side chains that notarize onto the main chain. They like run alongside it, and if more transactions are put on there, and then it carries on, with all these side chains. And by doing that, the network doesn't get filled up, the main chain blocks are not congested, and everything still runs silky smooth. And this is with the help of the distributed smart node system around the world, of which we've got close to 1400 now, something like that. So this is important for scalability, especially when millions and millions of people are using your chain at the same time. And this is also great because during these times of densely populated transactions, the fees to process those transactions don't increase substantially, which outprice the normal everyday user, which is the most important user. And when I say the most important user, it is because there are users on the chain who have the money to push transactions through for a much higher price, but that is not the key to mass adoption, because mass adoption is for everybody. It's not for the people that can afford it.
Good explanation. We said we're going to put a email address up on the screen, which we'll do right now, and we'll do it at the very end. I think I'm going to give a couple of, number 4 is cost and fees, which you touched on, but that's really important. And number 5 is something that we definitely excel at, and that's decentralization.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 5 more after that we'll be happy to send you. if you send an email to, it's familyoffice@raptorium.com. And we'll also send you a link to the special Family Office AI portal, which enables you to ask any question you want, educate yourself. What is a blockchain? Explain it to me like I'm in 5th grade. Use Legos as example. Whatever you want to do, just try it. Have fun with it. It is a lot of fun. We use AI internally. One of our key players developed the program. He's an AI developer, and we use it all the time. And it's so great for brainstorming and coming up with new ways of looking at things. Definitely going to use it for our new segment, which is $1 billion ideas.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So, hey, that was great. Thank you.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
So, you're done.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And there you are. We're good.
And there we are. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring this Family Offices episode of Raptor Chain Reaction to you all. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back next week. What are we doing next week, Hunter?
I think we need to do $1 billion idea.
$1 billion ideas.
So we're going to use the AI program for that one.
I've also noticed there's a web developer that's creating some sort of Raptorium premium and sub feature or something like that I've noticed on X today. So we might be able to check that out as well and see what's going on over there. Also, I know that Soka has mentioned that he's going to be incorporating Raptorium assets into his Google Play game, which is called what was it called again? What was that game called? Ghost Rider Valley. That's it. Ghost Rider Valley.
Yeah. Ghost Rider Valley.
So that's something to.
You just got back from fishing, so you're still in fishing mode, aren't you?
Well, I wasn't actually fishing. I was in the Lake District with the family. Wow. With the family, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Fishing was a few weeks ago, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, vacations are over now, right?
Well, vacations are over, but we are in Singapore in 10 days' time. So, gotcha. I mean, can you class that as a vacation?
No,
it's not a vacation. No, yeah.
Token 2049. Here we come, right?
Okay,
and
guys.
There you are. Okay.
Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to follow us at Raptorium on X, at Instagram, at Threads, and Official Raptorium on TikTok. And please give this YouTube video a like and click the little bell at the bottom to be kept up to date with any more Raptor Chain Reaction videos and Raptorium streams and Crypto Smith streams and any other good stuff like that. Cheers, guys. See you again.
Thanks.